In today's gaming news, Defiance gets a release date, a Torchlight 2 mod adds loads of content, and Adam Sessler discusses game violence on Fox. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. It is Wednesday, January the 30th, and my name is Force, here with today's gaming news. First up today, Defiance the game has gotten a release date. Defiance is an upcoming third-person MMO shooter that coincides with a new sci-fi series of the same name. The two properties are said to play off of each other, with major events in the show being represented almost immediately in the game as well. Defiance the game will be released on April 2nd for 360, PS3, and PC. Defiance the show kicks off on the Sci-Fi channel on April 15th. Now, I've played the two most recent Defiance beta events, but unfortunately the game's under an NDA, so I can't give you my impression on the title, whether or not I think it's good or bad. Next up, we'll be discussing a Torchlight 2 mod that adds a ton of new content to the game. The Torchlight 2 Synergies mod adds 108 elite monsters, 6 dragons, 28 raid dungeons, 11 world bosses, a new town, and a new necromancer class to the game. As if that wasn't enough content, future plans include adding 24 additional classes, more raid dungeons, quest hubs, and even a few more acts. The Synergies mod is free to download and available now. Wow, look at all that free, fan-made content. The developer didn't have to spend a dime on any of it either. Makes you think that having a moddable action RPG is a good idea. Yup. Now, last up in news today, we'll be discussing a serious topic that I've purposefully avoided in the past. Not because I'm afraid of the conversation, but because I don't want this to be too political. This is a gaming news show after all. But I think this is too important to avoid talking about, and this is going to be violence in video games. There was recently an Adam Sessler interview on Fox News that I thought you guys should hear about. Rev3 Games head and longtime industry member Adam Sessler recently appeared on Fox News to discuss the effects of violent games on children. When asked if the video game industry bears any responsibility to the tragic events like those of Sandy Hook, Adam responds by pointing out the fact that whenever a tragedy like this occurs, people's immediate reaction is to place the blame on new forms of media they don't understand, citing past instances where comic books and even the opera faced similar accusations. Now, in this interview, Adam brings up some excellent points, one of which is the fact that new media is typically blamed for society's problems, which is completely idiotic. It's really a result of the aging population not understanding new and upcoming forms of media. Music used to be blamed for violence and sexual acts, and it goes back as far as the Vatican blaming the opera for the problems of their society. No, the opera is not problematic, and forms of media, as far as I'm concerned, aren't either. Now, Adam was also asked in this interview if there's any scientific evidence linking violent behavior to violent video games. He pointed out that objective studies sometimes link aggressive behavior to playing games, but that same thing is seen in many things in life, such as playing sports or driving a car down the freeway. Many things cause aggression. That doesn't mean they lead to violent behavior or violent actions, and it's actually, in essence, the competitive nature of video games, whether playing against other people or just against the computer itself, that is more likely the cause of aggression, not the existence of violence. Now, finally, the interviewer asked Adam, what about the graphic nature that children are being exposed to, such as many modern military shooters? Adam rebutted, saying, violent games aren't made for children, they're made for adults. And of course, this is one of the truest statements that could ever be said. These violent video games are mature rated for a reason, and if kids are playing them, well, that's the parents' fault. I would like to know what you guys think about the violence in video games discussion. I know this is a broad topic and there are many aspects related to it, but let me know what you think in the comment section below. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's episode of the show. As always, thank you so much for watching. Once again, this has been Force, and you've just been force-fed. Listening to Tupac led me to do drugs. Reading the Kama Sutra made me have sex. And watching the Texas Chainsaw Massacre forced me to cut down that tree. You see, Your Honor, I'm completely innocent. All this stuff's to blame. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.